Welcome back to Dan's Messy Garage. This is going to be day 24 working on Project Betty, the 76 Monarch. In day 23, I discovered I had bad mismatch. I determined I'm going to paint the rest of the car. There's some chipped paint and some little areas that need to be fixed. Like the hood has chips along this edge. The front edge where the hood ornament was. See, car didn't have an hood ornament when I bought it. I bought a hood ornament. I put it on the hood. To work on the car, you're laying on the hood ornament. So made more sense to put it on the hood. All right, the hood has some scrapes and scratches, surface rust. Trying to work my way around the car. I got all this stuff in front of it here. The area here, the paint's chipped off. That's used to have a prop rod, and somebody stuck the prop rod in a different hole than in the hood. Chip paint there. I think this fender's okay. The door. Of course, some little bubbles down here. That's going to be a quick patch. I'm not going to get crazy with that. But I haven't sanded these runs yet. I'm waiting for the paint to harden up, and it's seems pretty hard now. So maybe in this episode I can start sanding those down. I recently put out a couple other videos on replacing the master cylinder and bleeding the brakes, a gravity bleed method. Those weren't really part of Project Betty, so that's why they were separate. Like I got a little runner drip here, but it's this paint mismatch is just, it's no fun, because this got to get painted, this little strip around the door. And then if you're going to paint the whole car white, you've got this bumper flexible panel here that doesn't match. And also there's a mismatch, or will be, with the front one. So there's going to be a lot involved to painting the rest of the car. I'm going to try to get the bumpers off, take the grill out, take these lights out. I think those corner lights come off easy. I know the headlight bezels come off easy. Don't know about the rest of it. I'm just going to have to find out. I have a lot of work cut out for me. And, the interior still is one dusty mess. And I painted some of those door panels and things red before. They ran out of paint when I was doing it. The store did. So I got another can, and I'm going to touch up some of that stuff too. Take some time in here with a vacuum cleaner, various other cleaners, and get this thing looking like a nice car again. I'm going to start with this run on the side. I'm going to try to sand it. I got some wore out 400 grit paper. This is just to get the major part of the run down, because I need to get it to like a 1200 or 1500 grit in order to, buff it. A lot of that's coming out. I don't want to take it too far down at the 400. going so I can barely feel it. I can still feel this right over here. So I'll sand that some more. That one's about gone. There's only this one drip here in the far part of the sag. The sag is made up of like multiple drips all connected together. All right, that's good enough for 400 there. Driver's side Betty toward the rear bumper. I found another sag there. You can see I highlighted it. I'm going to sand that out with the 400. Find the next spot. It's going to be right up in there somewhere. It's right here. That might be it for this. So what I'm going to do is take 600. No, I'm going to go right to 800. I'm going to go 400, 800, maybe 15. And then take my polisher and polish and see if it's good enough. We'll find out. I got some 800. Got it on this round rubbery thing. I've got it on a hard block. So I'm going to try this first. Now the way to find out where you're at and how you're doing is guide coat. It's hard to tell on white paint like that. So let me grab my guide coat out of the cupboard. And then when you sand that away with 800, when it disappears, you know you're now at an 800 grit all in that area. So that's all smoothed down with 800. So now I'll guide coat it, come back with like 1500 and then buff it. It's 1500. I already put some guide coat on it. So I'm going to get the polisher and hit that with the polisher and see what the results are. Got my buffing pad. Whoa, way too much. Oh, that came out fast. Yep, I'll work that in there and hopefully it'll work without splattering everywhere. We'll give this a try. Put this down on 1 to start. I'm going to try to rub that in. Kind of bouncing around a little bit in some water. I'll turn the up to 3. looks like it got it out. Yep, no more sag there. It's all gone. So I just got to keep doing that all around the car. I've been contemplating this, figuring out what to do. This white paint seems to be too thin right now to sand and buff. I don't know if it's because it's so fresh or if it's just thin. But with all these dust specks and nibs in here, I would need to aggressively sand that and buff it. And it's just not working out. The little buffing that I did, I can tell that it's just not going to work that way. So I'm going to do an experiment. I don't know if it's going to work. I think it will. If it doesn't, I can undo it. The experiment's going to be, I'm going to take some 800 grit, sand down this deck lid and this panel behind the window, and I'm going to clear coat it. Clear coat over the white. That should give it a lot better shine and a better surface for me to buff, because I'm familiar with the clear coat. I'm going to not clear the outside edges of the top of the quarter panels. Just going to do the deck lid and this panel. I have to sand this down 800, cover up the whole car with plastic, and shoot some clear on it. Wish me luck. See if I can illustrate my thought process here. Let's say I'm going to draw this thick, like that's the thickness of the sheet metal. Okay. Then on top of the metal, there's some layers of primer. I'll just draw one layer. And then there's paint on top of that. But that paint's got all these nibs sticking out of it. Some bigger, some smaller. But it's kind of like that. You see that. And my thought process is, if I'm sanding this, and as long as I still see traces of the nibs, if I can bring you in on a sanded section and show you here. Like, see those little highlights? That's the trace of the nib. As long as I see that trace of a nib, that means that I'm still up in this portion of the paint. I didn't get into this. So if I can sand and see traces of the nibs, and then sand a little further into here where they disappear, then I should be good. That's it in a nutshell. So, trying to get my phone to focus here. Focus on that. Okay. You can see those nibs I'm talking about. That's where I sanded over here. Focus. I haven't sanded yet. I want to try to get it flat, but not go too far. Hope some of that makes sense to you. I got to sand down the mountains, but not get too far into the actual paint, to make it flat. And then the clear coat's going to go over the top of all that. Okay, back to work. Okay, that's working nicely. It's getting out the mountain range, I can barely see some halos here and there, which is just fine. I don't want to go too far, but it's coming around. So I'm going to continue doing this, and then I'll just give you an update in a few minutes. What I'm about to do next is grab the roll of plastic, cover the whole car, cut the deck lid out of the plastic, tape it up, get ready to clear coat it. I mixed up 6 ounces of SPI clear. That should be enough for a coat, maybe 2 coats. We'll find out. I think it was exactly enough. I ran out right at the end. I'll come back later and find out. That clear went on nice. It looks good. Doesn't have as much dust in it. Definitely has more shine. And I'll find out tomorrow how it looks against this other part. But that's going to be the end of day 24, working on Project Betty, the 76 Mercury Monarch. I thank you for watching Dan's Messy Garage, and I hope you come back for day 25. There you go. Have a good evening. Bye.